Welcome to Coffee with the Queens. You are in the right place if you have coffee and a tiara. Okay, as long as you have questions, you are in the right place. Join forces where queens of kingdoms come together to share successful stories and wisdom that made our digital kingdoms abundant. Take it away, Queen Tammy.
Welcome to Coffee with the Queens. We are so happy that you're joining us each week. We are so blessed to have you with us. So ladies, I got a text message, and I think it was from PetSmart, and it said, it's Pet Adoption Week. There's a national pet adoption. There's always some time that people are promoting pet adoption. And, you know, this time of anxiety, I think we're all loving our pets a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Right now, I wanted to ask you, ladies, how many of you do holiday gifts for your pets, for your animals? Everyone, I imagine, on this panel.
Yes.
Daniel?
I totally do. I used to wait for my dog to unwrap her gifts. My first dog used to unwrap her Christmas gifts. And so that was like a thing. I would wrap them loosely and she would tear them up. She knew which ones were hers. I don't know how, but she knew which ones were hers. But yes, I spoil the heck out of my animals all the time. I don't do birthdays, but I do the holiday, the Christmas gift. Yes.
So one question, you have lots of pets. How many pets do you have, and which ones do you gift?
I've got, well, I guess we could start with the small and go up. I have chickens, cats, which don't get along, chickens, cats, dogs, and horses. The horses just get, what are they? They get a special treat because they don't come into the tree. So they get a special, edible treat. And the dogs and the cats actually get little stockings with stuff. Guilty, spoiling. Yes.
Super cute.
Yes.
Cute.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. But they're part of the family, right?
Exactly. And I have 2 cats. I love my cats. Oh my goodness. And then my mom has 5 dogs, and she fosters dogs. And we love the little fellows. And it's the older dogs that we foster because it's hard for them.
So great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I feel bad. I only have 1 cat. However, trust me, he's I call him our emotional support cat, because this cat never leaves our side. This cat is not one of these cats that stays outside. No, this cat is a family member. I swear to God, this cat, wherever we go, the cat goes. So that's my cat.
That's so great.
Well, you have something else that's special about your cat, Kathy.
Oh, that's true. My cat thinks he's a dog. So my cat, when I get up in the morning, sitting on the couch is his toy, because this cat loves to fetch like a dog. So this dog, and then the cat literally puts the toy on the couch, gets up on the couch, and does not leave till either myself or my husband takes that toy and throws it as far as we can in the living room. The cat, shoo, just like a dog, and he brings it back. And then this goes on until he gets tired. So the cat definitely owns my living room. So.
That is so cute.
Our animals own our life, actually.
That's a fact.
It's true, yeah. But they do make us happier. And it's one of those things that I know, Kathy, we were talking before, and you were saying that it's almost recession proof. That people will still spend money to take care of their animals because they are family members to us, because they're so important to us. And now that's not true all the time, but we whenever it's possible, I think people do think that way. And so that's why today our topic here is going to be all about taking care of our animals. What does it take, during their entire lifetime, from getting them in, right? We're going to have an animal behaviorist on today about getting them into our homes. What does that actually entail? And the care, the insurance costs, what if things go wrong? And then of course we have the what do we do if we pass? How do we take care of them afterwards? So we're going to cover all kinds of great topics today. So I'm super excited about that. And Kathy, you have a couple more statistics for us, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's true that pets are a recession-proof business. They are a member of our family, and just like everybody in our family, we have to buy them food, we have to buy them care. And so if you're looking to build your cash, it's definitely a business, especially today, it's booming. If I could just share one other thing, our data shows that 13% of all households have adopted a dog or a cat since the pandemic. It goes back to what's on it, because it makes you feel good We just learned this. If you pet your cat, it makes your endorphins grow in your brain, and now you have a happy brain. And matter of fact, there's actually a shortage of pets in the United States. I called my granddaughter yesterday. She said, I said, what are you doing? She said, so they just adopted a dog, a rescue dog from Russia, because that was the only way they could get a dog, because they wanted a dog. It was her friend, her boy. Anyhow, the only way they could get a dog in the United States was to go to Russia, because that's how many animals are in demand today.
That is amazing.
Seems
I had no
unreal.
idea.
Wow. So that's
I
why
find that kind of hard to believe, but
it's
okay.
Yeah. So this dog came from Russia on an airplane to Los Angeles, and then the rescue people brought him up to Los Altos, and now this dog has a great new home, and that's why pet owners spend, I think it's an estimated $100 billion a year on their pets. That's a big number.
It's a huge number. No wonder you say it's recession proof. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yes,
that brings me to our sponsors today, Pet Lovers Coffee. Pet Lovers Coffee is it's a beautiful thing. Kathy, you were talking about how this is such a recession-proof business, pets are. This is print-on-demand coffee. Talk about personalized gifts for Christmas. You can upload a picture of your pet, and then you can favorite blend. So if your dog's name is Chopper, like mine, you can get Chopper's Blend coffee with Chopper's picture on there. So it's quite amazing. So PetLoversCoffee.Shop, and this is a very special site for us because this is the charity that Pet Lovers Coffee supports, is a charity called Bathe to Save, and our friend Anthony Amos. They're an amazing family. What a wonderful story. They started a franchise called Hydrodog, Big Blue Dogs, Dumb and Dumber, that big dog in that movie. But they have a blue dog, and they go around to all the shelters and they actually bathe the shelters so that they are more adoption friendly and more animals can be adopted. So
do we have a
this
video
is a great
of
thing.
Anthony?
Yeah,
the
here's
founder.
a little.
Let me just play that real quick.
We are a family of Aussies who sacrificed everything to travel the US in an RV, washing shelter dogs and raising awareness for animal adoption. We've helped thousands of our four-legged friends on the Bathe to Save tour, and we are just getting started. We are the Forever Home family.
Oh, that's so great.
So, yes, and he has started a show. Their family has started a show. They've traveled everywhere, and they're just a wonderful family and a wonderful charity to support. So you guys go to Pet Lovers Coffee.
Yeah, great Christmas gifts as well. Great Christmas gifts.
Oh, wonderful.
Tammy, do you know, are those franchises still available if people were looking to grow their cats?
You would go to Hydrodog. You will see all about that. And I'm sure there's connections if you go to bathetoSave.com. And we can put that in our comments on our Digital Duchess page in case anyone wants to look into that further. But I'm sure we can put you in touch with Anthony. But what a great idea, right? What a great concept.
I love it. I love it. And I could see him going into events and festivals for animals too. Like, Angel wants to start his Pet Palooza, so we got to talk to him.
What is Pet Palooza?
Well, he just got that domain name, and it's going to be a big festival for pets. So we're excited about that. Everything to do with pets festival.
So this is like where ordinary animals go to win the best of show? Is this what this is?
Exactly. Why not? They need a festival too, just for them.
Yeah, so I can enter Pumpkin in that show. I got it.
There you go.
Pumpkin, is that the name of your cat?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin?
He's obviously pumpkin color. Yep.
That's so great.
Oh my gosh.
We have so many amazing guests today that we're going to.
And I'm trying to get one of them in right now.
So is it the holistic veterinary today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we wanted to talk. Hopefully we can get him in now. But there he is. Yay! He's here.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Hello, Dr. Gary.
Nice to see everybody.
I'm so glad you're here. So we're talking today all topics pet. And one of the things that we want to cover is, of course, the investment, the cost of having a pet, and the realistic way that we can keep some cash in our pocket and still take care of the family member that we love so much, our little furry friends.
Sure.
So you guys, I want to introduce you to America's favorite vet. He is an international best-selling author. He's the founder of an award-winning holistic pet practice in California. He's done amazing things in that realm. And he was awarded in 2019, congratulations, Gary, the Holistic Practitioner of the Year Award. That's a big deal. That's really cool.
Yeah,
So,
it was a big surprise. I didn't know that was coming, but it was really nice to get.
I appreciate that. And I have to give a special shout out too, because he not only is an awesome vet and takes care of his patients and the families around them, but he also has created some supplements for dogs and cats. Now I have, and I'll just go ahead and say that I told your wife this, Gary, that our 8-year-old German Shepherd has been on your supplements, Thrive, NutriThrive. Yes. Yeah. And we'll put a link in that, you guys, afterwards in the resources. We're going to have a link to this and a link to Dr. Gary as well. But I was feeding him this and we ran out. And so for about a month or so, he was off of it. And I just kept thinking, oh, well, you know, that when it shows up, it'll be fine. Well, he stopped being able to jump into the truck.
Huh.
And he wasn't able to get up on the bed. Yes, I'm one of those people. I've now succumbed to letting my dogs on the bed. Never did that for years. Now, but he couldn't get up. And I got the supplement in the mail. And within 1 week, he's jumping back into the truck. So this stuff is amazing. So I just have to give a shout out to you and for what you do. And thank you, because I feel like you've given a little bit of quality of life back to my older dog, which is fantastic.
That's sweet. Thank you.
So our question today has to do with insurance. And so rather than bring in an insurance rep, so to speak, we wanted to talk to somebody that actually deals with both sides of it. You deal with the families that bring the pets in, and then you also are the receiver of the insurance when it comes in. So what can you tell us about the best and worst choices that we can make when it comes to insurance for pets? I'm assuming that you're saying, yes, it's a good thing to have insurance.
Yes, I do say it's a good thing. It used to be, years ago when I first started practicing, I used to tell people, well, if you having to lay out $5,000 in a moment's notice in an emergency is going to be a problem, then you should probably think about pet insurance. That was 20 plus years ago. I mean, now that number is probably closer to $15,000. Wow. It is not hard to run up a very, very large bill in an emergency, or if your pet needs surgery, or if they have cancer or something to that effect. Things can get very expensive very fast. And as a veterinarian, one of the most tragic things you ever see is when people have to make life and death decisions purely based on what things cost. That's a really unfortunate thing. So I am a very big fan of pet insurance. I have seen it save many lives, again, because ultimately these pets get better care. I will tell you, as a veterinarian, I'm a fan of pet insurance because it allows me to do my job better, in the sense that, when I have a client come in and I say, look, this is really what we should do, and they say, do what you got to do because it's covered, that makes my life way easier. And it makes it easier for me to be able to treat my patients, when there's not that sort of back and forth about, a negotiation of what everything costs. I mean, it's not human medicine in the sense that there's a social safety net where if you need a surgery, it's going to get done whether you have insurance or you don't.
Right.
That's
not that way.
It's not the case in veterinary medicine. Although sometimes people do, you can't really hold it against a veterinarian for not being able to provide $10,000 worth of services with no hope of getting paid, because, just like every other business owner, we have staff to pay and vendors to pay and rent to pay and insurance to pay, and all that stuff has to happen. Unfortunately, it's a business. And so long story short, pet insurance is a wonderful thing.
Are there different types of pet insurance? Is there some that are better than others, without naming? We're not supporting any particular company, but is there a difference?
Sure. Yeah. The pet insurance industry has absolutely exploded over the past 15 years or so. I mean, it used to be there was one or two companies, and there was no competition. And as such, the coverage, quite frankly, was really bad, because there just wasn't any competition. Now, I mean, there's got to be 30 or 40 pet insurance companies out there at least. And there's enormous competition, which means that coverage is getting better and better. Now, that said, the thing about getting pet insurance is largely a very similar scenario as it is with us getting health insurance, in the sense of you really have to think about what kind of coverage you want. For example, do you want a high deductible or do you want a low deductible? You have to look at things.
When you say, I don't mean to interrupt, but to make that, because that's something that's important, I would think, and maybe I'm wrong, but because I have experienced the emergency rush and the, hey, it's going to cost $5,000 just for today kind of call, I would think that the high deductible would probably be not a bad thing to look at, because you're really trying to protect against those giant bills that come in.
I would agree with you. The thought process for some people is they just want most stuff covered.
Okay.
So let's say, your dog gets a cut on their foot and comes in. So, not anything big, but I mean, if they only have like a $250 or a $500 deductible, their insurance may pay for part of that. So right. It really just depends on what you want out of it.
Okay.
But other things to consider are coverage limits. So is there a yearly cap on how much the insurance company will cover? Is there a cap on per diagnosis? So for example, if your pet gets cancer, it's going to be a problem where, if your pet insurance company has, say, paid out $15,000 and then they say, well, you've reached your limit, everything beyond that's out of pocket for you. So, I mean, these are things that you have to look at. I mean, you really have to sort of scrutinize these things before you sign up. A real good example, this literally just happened yesterday. I was on the phone with a pet owner who was telling me that her pet insurance company, the way that their policy is written is every year in March, they have to renew the policy. And every year that the policy renews, anything that happened before that renewal date becomes considered a pre-existing condition and they don't cover it.
Wow.
Which is insanity. I mean, it makes no sense. So like, let's say your pet's diagnosed with diabetes in April.
Right.
Or in February, and then you renew in March, all of a sudden diabetes is pre-existing, but they've been insured all along. So, I mean,
it really pays to do your homework.
It really does. And you know what, I mean, the thing about insurance companies is it doesn't matter what they're insuring or for whom, they're always very happy to take your money and they're always looking for a way not to give it back.
I know, that's so true.
That's just how the business is run. That said, like I said, I mean, I think pet insurance is a really great thing, but people really do need to do their due diligence to make sure that they're getting a policy that suits their needs. One other thing that I'll throw out in that regards is, and then
we've got I got to give you like a 10-second window because then we got to move on, but we want to hear what you have to say. So go.
Yeah. So some pet insurance companies will cover alternative care, holistic treatments, that sort of thing. So if that's something that interests you as a pet owner, you want to look for a policy that covers that as well.
I think that probably all of us on this show are interested in that for sure. And I know that is your specialty. And I honor you for leading the path with the holistic veterinary medicine. I really think that you do exactly that. And so thank you so much, Dr. Gary Richter, for being here. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to have you on our special pet show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Have a great day. I know you have to head off to your patients.
I do indeed. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we were talking about taking care of our animals whenever they're ill, but I think, Kathy, our next guest is a special person for you because we're talking about how sometimes we can't necessarily take care of them when things go really wrong. Do you want to give us a little lead into our next guest, Diane, who we just see popped on here?
Sure. So our next guest is Diane Quinn. She's the CEO and founder of a new company called Await, and she'll explain to you why she picked that name for her company. And she has a new program called Rehoming, which I must admit to me was a brand new word in my vocabulary, but I'm sure we're going to learn more about it. And her company is in Boston, and Boston is a very competitive world for startups. And they have all types of accelerators and things you can apply for. In her company, just won one of the seats into the new accelerator program in Boston to help bring this product to market. And she's going to talk about how this new program can help you protect your pets, keep them safe.
Thank you, Kathy. It's thrilling to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, everyone. I love your crowns, by the way.
We'll have to get you one.
Yes.
Yes, Await is an innovative pet rehoming platform. And I came about with this idea for a venture because I didn't have anyone to leave my 2 cats to if something happened to me. At one point, my mom had agreed to take my cats, but she's like, I don't have space. So I'm like, I'll buy you a house. Okay, I have no problem. Okay, I'll hire someone to come in every day. So this kept going on. And by the end of it, I had a $1 million term life insurance policy taken out for my cats and for my mom's new home and for all the services she was going to need to take care of these cats. Wow. And I thought, this is ridiculous. All right. Wow. And then as Kathy and I had discussed, I had it in a will, like every normal person thinks. And, I learned that wills were not enforceable and someone could take my $1 million and not my cats. And so I just said, I have to solve for this. This is a problem for so many people. I was involved in volunteering for animal rescue, pet rescue in New York City for 12 years. So I worked with the ASPCA, the Humane Society, the city shelters, no-kill rescue groups. And so I realized this was a bigger problem for a lot of people. And so the pet rehoming, the pet rehoming is really a pre-planned and pre-funded solution. So there are other solutions out there for people if they can't keep their pet. So if you don't need to know who's going to care for your pet, if you don't want that kind of certainty, you can always work with a nonprofit rescue. You have no idea when that animal will be placed. You have no idea who will get it. You will have no idea the type of care they're receiving because there is no follow-up. And the money that you give to the rescue stays with the rescue. It doesn't follow the pet. So if that caretaker loses their job or their home or whatever, or becomes unable to care for it, it's going to risk end up in the shelter all over again. So the pet rehoming is really for people who want that assurance, that certainty to know their pets are going to be safe. And that could be whether their pets outlive them, or if you have a medical condition, or you have a permanent disability, or you have to relocate into homing that is not pet friendly. So if you go into assisted living or a nursing home or something. So what do you do with your pets? So, this is really, really built to build pet safety into every step of our process. And it's for people who don't have a caretaker, but it's also for people who do. Because, we found that doing the research, looking at this problem, 1/3 of all pets that are surrendered to the shelters each year in the United States. And when I say shelters, I'm not talking the no-kill rescues.
Right.
I'm talking the euthanasia shelters. 1/3 of those are coming from family and friends that you left your pets to. So a lot of people don't realize that if you don't choose the right person, just dumping it on a family or a friend member isn't going to keep your pet safe necessarily. So you have to choose the right person. And then if you do choose the right person, as I just said with the will, you have to choose the right vehicle to make sure that pet is funded and safe. So if somebody loses their job, if the money for the pet is safe, the pet's not as much risk, because the money's not going to be spent on somebody's, mortgage payment or whatever. It follows the pet around, and the pet will always be cared for. And so there's a vehicle, a pet trust that does that, and it's a very niche area of law.
I was going to say, if you don't mind me asking, are there many lawyers that actually deal with this, or is this something that's a little tricky to find?
It's a niche area. I went through training at ASPCA when I found out that my $1 million term life insurance policy was at risk. And I educated myself, and I went to headquarters in New York City and took a class on it. And so pet trust is a very niche area. And the reason I know this too is I was getting calls from estate lawyer friends in New York City saying, you got to help me out. My client died. He left 30 grand for the care of his cat to his brother. The brother took the money and not the pet. And so the city officials were at the door to bring the pet to the shelter. And I know that, You know, in New York City, especially in a recession, those pets aren't going to last too long. You know, there's 23% of animals in shelters that are euthanized every year. That's 1.5 million animals. And in a place like New York City, that can be a lot greater because there's so many more people and pets. So I would step in and be rescuing these animals for people I had never met. I knew a lot of people were not going to do that. So I just knew I had to solve this on a larger basis. And the pet trust is really the vehicle that assures that money stays with, it has to by law be spent only on the animal, not somebody's kitchen remodel, right? So
I think we should again repeat, because I think most people don't know this, and actually most people don't even have a will. But a lot of people believe if they have a will, that will can actually manage. Just you gave a great explanation of a situation whereby you thought you had it set up and then you learned it wasn't. It was kind of like me. I thought I was set up and then I became the victim. But it's true. We just don't understand these rules. But we just want to say to our audience, if you were listening, you need a pet trust for your animals if you want to make sure that there is a way that they're taken care of in case something can happen. And I thought you had another great example. You told me that when you were at Sandy Hook, you were a victim of Sandy Hook, and all of a sudden you couldn't take your pet to the rescue place, to the shelter. And so you had to pay all this money to take care of your pet again.
Right. Like, and they did set up, like, I think Rachel Ray was great. I think she kicked in like $500,000 with the ASPCA and created a kind of a holding facility for pets in Queens. But you know, they're living in cages, right? Just like they
Sorry,
would.
for just a second, I thought you said a holding facility for pets and queens.
No,
Sorry.
in Queens, the borough of Queens.
It took me a second, but I was like, wait, what?
Hilarious.
So you know, for me, I had 2 FIV positive cats, and they cannot be housed with other animals because they're going to pick up. They don't have an immune system, you know, they have a compromised immune system. And so, you know, I ended up, I first, because of my work in the nonprofit community, I was able to work with a retired federal judge who opened a sanctuary in upstate in Adirondacks for FIV cats. So my cats were there for a few months, but then I had to get them back. And because they had needed all kinds of medical care, because even up there they were stressed and getting sick. And so I paid a woman literally my rent money. It was like $2,500 a month just to let my cat stay in her apartment near my vet. And I still paid all the food and everything else. And she really didn't take good care of them. She never called the vet. They did end up getting sick. And I just needed a holding place for them until I got back on my feet and put a roof over my head again. And so our Wade also offers that interim. It's kind of like a month to a year, like these poor people, like whether you're national, you know, a disaster victim like I am, displaced, and you just need someone to take care of your pets while you get back on your feet. You know, that's it. I'm telling you, when you have to worry about so much, not worrying about your pets is a huge relief. It really is, not worrying about what you're going to do. And I look at these poor people in California living in tents on a campground. It's like, what do you do with your pets? You know,
we're going to have your contact information on our resource list as well, right, Sohalia?
Yes, definitely.
And also
Awesome.
maybe we should spell the name of your company, AWAYTE.
Yes, and I came up
Exactly.
with the
Make sure that we know how to spell it. AWAYT. It is in our resource, and I think we have a link there that if people are interested in finding out more about your program, want to become part of your beta, we welcome you, and we hope and urge you to find out more about how to take care of your pets.
And please go on to coffeewiththequeens.com, and under guests right there, we have all their information there, and that's under resources as well. So please check them out, and just thank you so much, Diane, for what you do. I mean, our pets are our fur babies, and they mean the world to us. And again, thank you so much for doing all that you do.
Thank you, Diane.
So appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
awesome.
so much.
So jumping right along, our very next guest is here already. And so I have a personal connection with Dr. Grace Safford. We actually had the pleasure of co-hosting a radio show together years ago for wildlife conservation and zoologists. And so that was great fun for me. I met a lot of really super interesting, brilliant people through Mr. Grace Safford. He's an animal behaviorist, a zoo and animal advocate. He's also an author of a best-selling book called Zoomility, which I highly recommend. It's all about positive reinforcement training. And I know that you really have a heart for dolphins, but it's interesting because the last time that we chatted, I think I did a Facebook Live with you, Dr. Gray, you had dolphins jumping in the background, which like couldn't have been more interesting, right? It was the coolest thing ever.
We've sort of toned it down a little bit since that last interview.
I can see it. It's a little more subtle in the background now, but Dr. Gray, thank you so much for being here. And, we were talking here, especially with Diane, who's hanging with us still, a little bit about the rescues and the things, and when you adopt an animal, and sometimes, like we were saying, that it's possible to actually foster or adopt an older animal. And so if you have an animal that you want to bring in an animal into your house and they already have these established patterns, sometimes maybe they're not the best behaved, or there are things that we want to change. Do you believe it's actually possible to teach an old dog new tricks?
I absolutely do. Speaking as an old dog myself, my wife's conditioning for all sorts of new behaviors as we enter this next phase of life. And I apologize, I didn't bring my tiara today. So if you invite me back, I'll make sure I'm appropriately addressed next time.
We'll get you taken care of.
Thank you.
But you have your coffee, right?
I have iced tea. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but I drink gallons of tea. So I'm set. Thank you. It's a great question. I think older pets make wonderful companions for the right family, right situation. And regardless of whether you're taking a young animal, a puppy, or an older animal, there's always some element of training involved. There's always an element of adjusting their old way of doing things to your lifestyle and accommodating each other. And in fact, I think with older animals, typically that adjustment is easier. I don't want to get too anthropomorphic, but I do think there's a sense of gratitude on the part of some of these animals that are older. Maybe they've spent some time in the shelter because they're older and not getting adopted out right away. That very often I think those people that take that time to bring in a senior animal to their home actually fare much better. The relationship is almost immediate, and there's almost a sense of relief on the part of the animal because they're in a home, a loving home, and their needs are being met in a way that maybe they weren't before.
I'm so glad that you said that, because we all like to say that there's a gratitude there. But I mean, I'm really glad that you said that, because I think we all will feel that sometimes if you've ever adopted an animal, especially one that is a little older.
Well, my mother, when my stepfather passed away about 5 years ago, and not long after, she opened up her heart and her home to a senior dog that they just instantly connected, and it was beneficial for both of them. It helped my mom during the grieving process to have someone that she could talk to and relate to, and that she knew her husband would have enjoyed this dog given his size and so forth. And now there's some downsides to it. Of course, an older dog means they may have medical conditions that need attention. So there may be an increased cost there, but there are a lot of benefits financially, I think, with going with an older animal, because one, they're not puppies. They're not in such great financial demand from potential families. So very often the adoption fees are much less, maybe just enough to cover, incidental costs, and because the shelters are relieved to be able to find a home for these pets. So there's a financial incentive for those families that are maybe strapped for cash to open their homes to an older pet as well. And then there's always the things like teething and the property damage and all that other stuff that can occur with a young animal. A lot of that stuff is gone. Yeah, I know.
Totally going through that right now.
I love the pictures and videos of you and your new shepherd. But
you have a shepherd as well, so you understand it. I'm posting things on Instagram, like half pages each, right? Like the art and the artist. The artist is always the puppy, and the art is usually some sort of destruction that she's done for the day, right? I mean,
right. And
yeah,
you have to be ready for that. Whatever your lifestyle is, you have to be prepared for that adjustment. And very often it's a year, or for a larger breed dog like that, it could be up to 2 years of what I call scrambled egg brains, right? Where they're just learning how to figure it out. Well, a lot of these senior animals have already been through that, and they're actually looking for a little more sedate, peaceful, but fun lifestyle that I think matches where a lot of us are at these days.
I would love for you to speak too. And I know that it's hard to say how much somebody can spend on training. It depends on what kind of training you want and the breed, many other things. I'm sure you can tell us about that. But when you do bring an animal in, and I think a trainer is a good idea, can you give us some advice as to like how to choose a good trainer for your dog, and maybe even how much might need to be budgeted?
Well, the budgeting can vary quite a bit. Again, I think it goes back to your comfort level. If you're a kind-hearted person and you don't like to raise your voice or use harsh methods of training, then I wouldn't go to a trainer that gives you that vibe, right? Sandra, you and I go way back. I'm all about positive reinforcement training.
Yes.
And setting animals up for success. And very often an older animal is going to have some history there. We all have a little baggage. We all have a little history. And so it's important to take time to give them some space, but also control the environment in a way that is reassuring to this animal, because it's a new location. And any animal, old or young, is going to feel a little bit of trepidation going into a new situation. The nice thing is, I think, though, with a lot of older animals, you're not going to have the same level of investment in terms of time and money in hiring a trainer. And I think a lot of these animals have worked with trainers at these rescue centers. It's really important to talk to those I almost call them counselors at these rescue centers and adoption centers, because they know those individuals. They can tell their likes and dislikes and help the new pet owner make good decisions and set up a good environment before they ever bring the animal home, which goes a long way to creating the kind of success that you want when you bring in a new family member, whatever the species may be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, it does depend too on what's the end result that you want to have with your pet. Are you going to be competing with, you're going to be, just hanging out on the couch? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can train, and that's where the huge difference in investment comes in. Right.
You're absolutely right. And I guess my default position is, I want a dog that's going to be comfortable sitting on the couch with me and not bark all day while I'm on a Zoom call or whatever. And those are fairly, I think, universal behaviors that we all are looking for. And my advice to anyone considering a pet, whether it's a puppy like you and your husband have plunged yourselves into for the last couple of months, or an older dog, is set them up for success. Think about what they need throughout the day. Limit their access to things like your leather shoes and your TV remotes and that sort of stuff. Those recommendations never go away. I have great trained dogs in the home, but I pick up after myself for the most part. And every once in a while, I'll leave something around and I find it chewed up in pieces. And that's on me. That's not on my dog. So it's setting them up for success, being a gentle touch, and opening up your heart to an animal that may be at the midpoint of its life, not at the beginning. And I think there's a lot of reward for both parties involved.
I have a quick question. Okay, so we have older dogs and we live upstairs, and so by the time they go downstairs, they can't get to the outside fast enough, and so they just tend to just go to the living room because it's just right there, and they keep going to the bathroom in the same spot. Yeah. What can we do about that?
Well, that is tough because now they've got a pattern, and let's face it, relieving oneself is reinforcing. Sooner or later, we all have to do it, and it feels better. So there's an intrinsic reward there for their behavior. So what I would say is try to get them and yourselves on a schedule as far as feeding and drinking water, and note those times down. Note when they need to go to the bathroom, basically, and get them downstairs beforehand. And use a baby. I have 6 baby gates in my house and I'm constant. And I don't set them up and spring load them. I just set them against the hallway, and they respect that and they stay away. They don't want that thing falling on them. And so use the control of the environment to say, okay, I know in the next 20 minutes you're going to have to go. Let's go downstairs, put the baby gate across the stairs, and set them up for success for a shorter pathway. And then get them outside, reinforce them for going outside. A lot of praise. Once they've had an accident and you've got a bit of history there, so you're in the hole, you got to dig yourself out of the hole before you're level, and then build success from there. But once you do, I think they'll get it. They don't want to necessarily go in the house, especially if you're unhappy afterwards. And then if it's on carpet and that sort of thing, you may have to replace it. At some point, you get to a point where there are no commercial products where you're going to clean that set out of there. So it really is setting up dogs are pretty predictable. If we maintain a fairly constant schedule for them, feeding wise and drinking wise, they're pretty reliable unless there's a health issue there. So that helps us kind of structure their day a little bit more. So I would just suggest adding a little more structure until they build some success, and then you can relax your structure. But if you need to, you can tighten it back down again. We used to have a saying at SeaWorld where I started, when an animal's giving you a lot of control, a lot of attention, a lot of love, if you will, then you can relax a little bit, some of your criteria. But when they're not giving it to you, you got to tighten your criteria. You got to be, which means more work for us in the short run.
Right.
And then you can relax it as they build on their success.
Yeah. Same thing that I do with a puppy, right? Even though it's an older dog, it's kind of the same thing. You just go back, Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Do you happen to have any videos on YouTube that if some of our listeners are looking for information on how to do this, do you have any?
No, I don't think they're on YouTube. I used to do a lot of segments on local TV here. They're on our book Facebook page. My book is entitled Zoomility. Thank you for asking. And if you look at some of the video links on that Facebook page, there's probably some segments of crate training, dog walking, things that you can do that, very normal types of behaviors everybody kind of would like their dog to be somewhat proficient.
So I just found I have a granddaughter that she has 2 huskies.
Yeah.
They were puppies, so now maybe they're 4 months old, and I totally relate to the art and the artist because every day she posts on Instagram. I mean, they're normally really controlled, but if they leave the house, man, they are just waiting to find something to find. So that is my Christmas present to her. Your book.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah, I think there's some fun videos there because we try to keep it simple. A lot of times the advice, regardless of the behavior, is very similar. It's control the environment as best you can. Now with 2 big huskies, it's hard to control anything. But
they're small right now, but they've grown so fast. It's like they're almost, they were puppies. Now they're like big dogs.
Tell me about that.
Sure. and so the main thing is to control the learning environment. And that means you reward them for success and you look for opportunities to reward them. You don't wait till there's a problem to respond because that's kind of the lazy way of training and teaching. You want to be proactive. You need to be aware of, hey, I know that they often go to the bathroom at this part of the day. I need to get them outside so that they are successful. So it's anticipating some of the problem areas and redirecting them away from that. But it's also making their lives interesting so that they do what you want them to do 24 hours a day, which is oftentimes just sleep and be good and quiet.
Yeah, sometimes.
So
Haley, I think we have a couple of comments that are coming in. Is there anything that Dr. Gray or even Diane, who's still here, is there anything that they can answer?
Well, there's some suggestions like, just comments actually. Like my mom says, bring tears to my eyes when you talk about an older pet. The fosters I have are in that category. Some may have some medical issues, others not. I have a hospice little gal who cannot be adopted. She is like a stuffed animal, a sharp as a tack, curved spine, no teeth, and other issues, but so loving. Her name is Tequila.
Aww.
So yeah.
Sweet.
And then Janie McGuire says, we have a list of trainers that is part of our adoption contract package. They specialize in different things: agility, service, animal behavior, rehabilitation, basic puppy training, etc. It is important to choose the best one to fit your needs.
Awesome.
And
great.
So,
That's a good animal rescue that has that available, I would think.
And ladies, one thing I've always, maybe it's because I grew up in Cleveland and was a Browns fan for so long.
I'm sorry.
Right? Okay, Dallas.
Steeler girl here.
But I've always rooted for the underdog, right? I'm from the Midwest originally. We're in Arizona now. And so the animals that I've always enjoyed the most working with, whether they were dolphins or killer whales or some terrestrial animal or some pet of some kind, are the ones that others have written off. Mm-hmm. The ones that are the aggressive, they're losers, they don't know how to win, they're washed up, they're too old, whatever. To me, those are the real hero animals that I've had a chance to work with, because you give them that opportunity and they just find ways to shine, in some ways more so than some of the animals that have got it made. And so I love a good underdog story. And I think for the right family, willing to put in some time and also willing to risk a little emotional investment, because let's face it, a 7-year-old German Shepherd's not going to live as long as a 6-month-old German Shepherd on average. So there's an investment there, and there's a built-in loss already. But for those who are willing to open up their homes like some of you have, the rewards, I think, outweigh that.
I love that. That is awesome. Thank you so much,
Beautiful.
Greg.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Gray, can I reach out to you, because we'll be getting senior dogs, I'm sure, with our rehoming service.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get some advice from you on what we do in that first month when they're traumatized from losing their owners, and how to set them up for success.
Love it.
We'll make sure that you guys get connected. How about that?
Thank you.
Great.
And we'll make sure that the people at home know to go to the coffeewiththequeens.com website, where you can find under guests the resources there that both of these guys can offer to you. So thank you guys so much again for being here. And you're welcome to hang out with us as we move into the next segment, or if you've got to go, I understand that too.
Well, thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure. And I am going to have to bug out. I'm teaching, so I've got to run. But
okay.
Pleasure to talk to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Good to see you, Greg.
So much.
Thanks.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Ladies, I think we have a little time for a giveaway from our sponsor. So
Yes.
Lovers Coffee. Sahela, you've been manning the chat a bit. Who do you select?
Oh my God, there's a bunch of people. So Stephanie was on. She was talking. Mel was on, saying pet insurance was the best she's ever. I mean, it was the best thing she ever did. And then and my mom was. God, there's so many. And then Janie was saying true adoption fees for seniors are a lot less. Oh my God, this is a hard decision. Oh my goodness. Who wants it, guys? Who wants a gift? Who wants a treat? Go ahead and comment below and let me know. Say,
who wants a treat? I feel like we're training a dog. Who wants a treat?
Right. It's pets time. Who wants a treat?
Hilarious.
I know. So come on, guys. Let me know in the comments. Let me know who wants me. Oh, Stephanie Powell says me.
Okay.
So Stephanie, you are a winner. So are we going? Stephanie,
sure. What she's won, Sohelia.
Okay. So Stephanie, do you have a dog or a cat? She says, I survived with coffee. Well, good to know, because guess what? You just won a bag of our Pet Lovers coffee. And so we're going to send you a link where you can make your own coffee with your pet's picture on it. Isn't that cool? So excited about that. So
by the way, I want to also reinforce that too. It's a great gift. So even, when Stephanie, when you go to that site or anybody goes to that site, I've actually purchased, and I've called up my friends, and this mysterious text message they get from me going, do you have any pictures of you and your donkey? That sounded so she's like, yeah. So I did one for my friend that has donkeys and called it Burroughs Brew, But people that have dogs or cats, I just say, hey, do you got a picture of you with your dog? What's your favorite picture? And then you take that, and it's a great little personalized gift for the holidays.
Yeah.
So Jan, maybe
it's around the corner too, Yeah, and Christmas, yeah.
Oh, I'm gifting. I've already been messaging my friends about their favorite pictures with their animals, and they're like, "Why? No."
So, Tammy, aren't we going to talk more about this opportunity for print-on-demand coffee? Which, if you
we have a print-on-demand,
really unique way to build your cash with print-on-demand coffee.
100%. And next week, one of our sponsors is going to be a print-on-demand coffee as well, and wonderful if you're a small business, or if you want to make some extra cash for Christmas, a great POD opportunity. And we have a POD workshop coming up. So if you're interested in that, just put POD in the comments, and we'll make sure to reach out to you so you don't miss that. And finally, so you guys, some of you may know that we have a small animal business here ourselves, USA family-based business that does pet products. So I would like to do one more giveaway. We have dog toys, we have critter covers, a basket of pet products. So who's going to pick this time, someone needs to pick again. I'm going to send them a wonderful gift basket of dog toys and critter cuddler and fun things.
Okay,
do I qualify? Oh, I don't do it.
Who wants the gift basket? Comment below, guys. Comment below who wants the gift basket. Let me see.
So Tammy, while we're waiting, could you use the word critter cuddler for those of us who might be listening?
Yeah,
that,
what is critter cuddler?
What is a critter cuddler? And why did you create it? And back to this time of anxiety and isolation.
Yes, thank you for asking. I should find my little Chihuahua. It's really for her. So a few years ago, so I'm online all the time, right? I'm working from home, I'm online. And if any of you have little pets, you know that they climb up your leg, they want to be on your lap, they want to be near your heart. And I've had carriers before, but they sort of sat on my hip like a sling, and she just was crawling up, and always wanted to be by my heart. So, and I wanted her there too, but it's hard to work and do that at the same time. So, so we created what was called the Critter Cuddler, which is a little, it goes around your neck, and it's a little carrier, but it keeps them real close to your heart all day. So I put her in there, and she can hang out with me while I work. And the brand, we're only on Amazon. We're on Amazon, so you can find us there. You type in Critter Cuddler. Duke's Digs is our company name, which most of my family is engaged in and help bring beautiful critter cuddlers to people. But this brand has grown, and the stories that we hear from people are just amazing all the time. Just look at the Amazon reviews, pet parents to things like guinea pigs and sugar gliders and prairie dogs and little, bunnies and kitties and doggies that just hang out with them in their little critter cuddler pouch all day. And it's wonderful. And they talk about the anxiety relief. If you have children, it helps them to safely handle their smaller pets. We work with the autistic community a lot, things that happen there with therapy pets. So it's really, really amazing how this has progressed. And I'm so happy to share with whoever has a small pet.
So cool.
A critter
cuddler. So we got a winner. So critter cuddler, easier to get up and down the steps. So Louise says that is what I need. So we got a winner.
Yay! So you can get her info. And
I'll get all their information. Yes. So Stephanie and Louise, I'll get your information, and right after we're done here. And so excited! This is so great.
Awesome.
So
we have our quote. We have our quote. Do you want to do our quote?
Yes.
Don't forget our quote.
Yes.
Because we work together on this, you guys. So this is our quote for this week, y'all. Any glimpse into the life of an animal quickens our own and makes it that much larger and better in every way. John Muir. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. So I think we all kind of agreed we love that. Want to share that with you. And so we're getting ready to sign off. We want to and really just encourage you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, comment, tell people about us, please share. That's how we're going to grow this and how we can reach more people to help them grow and protect their cash, credit, castle, and kingdom. So if you found this helpful, please do that. And next week, our guest is going to be Matthew McGregor. He's the founder of 22 Apps. So if you have any desire to have your own app, then I would recommend going ahead and joining us next week. For right now, we're wrapping it up, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Enjoy your animals.